Welcome to Basic and Bookish Podcast, where today we are discussing our favorite moments, characters, and foreshadowing from A Court of Mist and Fury, Book 2 of the ACOTAR series by Sarah J Maas. I'm Kinsey.
And I'm Karly. Join us as we enter the Maasverse, preparing for the highly anticipated release of ACOTAR 6.
This is part of our Massive Maasverse Mayhem Crash Course season, where we will cover favorite ACOTAR, Throne of Glass, and Crescent City moments, world building and lore breakdowns, ACOTAR 6 theories, and more before the sequel's release on October 27th, 2026. And once ACOTAR 6 is here, we'll be right by your side to recover from the inevitable cliff hangover before ACOTAR 7's release on January 12th, 2027. And yes, we will be updating our theories between releases.
And with that, content warning and spoiler alert. This episode is full of A Court in Mist and Fury spoilers. So if you haven't read the book, make sure to go do that first, and we will be here waiting for you when you get back. That being said, we will be structuring this episode so that the first portion of this episode will only contain ACOTAR Book 2 spoilers, but we will be diving into the ACOTAR series spoilers in the second half. There will be a clear spoiler warning for the entire ACOTAR series when we switch to full series spoiler territory, so if you're reading ACOTAR for the first time, you do not need to worry about series spoilers.
Also, because I can't contain myself, at the very end of this episode, there will also be a Maasverse spoiler warning where I need to get a few things off my chest. It's more like fun observations than discussions of major Maasverse spoilers, but if you don't want to know anything about Throne of Glass and Crescent City lore at this point in your reading journey, we will have a spoiler warning for that section as well. It's the last section.
You can find the spoiler warnings in our show notes.
Due to the nature of these books, this podcast is rated R in content and language. If you'd like to skip the ads and have access to full video formats, it's available now on Patreon. That link can be found in our show notes.
Now prepare to dive into the cauldron because we're entering the Maasverse. Starting off with our overall thoughts on A Court of Mist and Fury, what we liked about it and what fired our ash arrows.
I really love A Court of Mist and Fury. For me, this is where the ACOTAR series clicked. I was like, okay, I get it. I understand the hype. I love it. And so whenever I think of the ACOTAR series, I don't think of literally A Court of Thorns and Roses. I think of ACOMAF. Like, that's the book that I think about. But we got Feyre's transformation in this book, which we'll get into later in our character section. We also got an introduction of new settings like Valoris and new characters like the Inner Circle and the romance. Oh, so good. So I just absolutely ate that all up in ACOMAF. What did you like in book 2?
I definitely feel like this book is the best paced book in the series as far as the structure of it goes. It flows really well. I love the introduction of all the new characters. The world gets so much bigger. Those are definitely my favorite parts of book 2. We'll get into this in just a minute, but I will say I feel like my thoughts changed on book 2 after a reread because this is the first time I've reread A Court of Mist and Fury.
Ooh, and I want to say it's my third, possibly my fourth, but I want to say it's my third time actually reading A Court of Mist and Fury. So I love that I get to hear your first opinions doing this as a reread. So that's really exciting for me, but it definitely is better on a reread. Like, I think for everyone, because we know, like with chapter 54, and we're going to talk about that later, but we know what's going to happen. And so you pick up on more clues, and I just think it's so fun. But anyway, what did not fire our ash arrows? I'm going to go with Tamlin and Ianthe. I was not a fan of them. They suck. Like, I am not a fan. They're super incompetent. They're much more abusive than I remember them being. Just overall, did not like them in this book at all.
I have to agree with you on the Tamlin and Ianthe front. I definitely liked them even less on a reread. I will say that surprisingly, I feel like I'm maybe the only person who liked A Court of Mist and Fury less on a reread than I did on the first read.
Hey, what? I just said the opposite.
I know, and I think I'm the only one. I will say, though, I feel like it's really interesting rereading this series, having completed the series and the things that you notice. That is the fun part, because you notice these little things that you didn't notice the first time around. And so that's really fun. But I will say, I am not a fan of Feyre in this book.
Oh, I'm surprised. I thought that you would have liked her more in this one.
So I think we're going to get into characters later. So I will get into that later. But I will say, I feel like I like her less in this book than the first time I read this book. So that was interesting for me. I wasn't expecting that. I will say there's also just things like after rereading this book that I'm just thinking about more that just didn't quite make sense to me. I feel like this is a world with Diomede. It didn't make sense that they could keep Velaris a secret to me.
Yeah.
That whole concept just isn't really working for me because not everybody is trained to shield themselves. But some people like Velaris do leave and they go trade and stuff. So that just didn't quite make sense to me, especially with the fact that he disappears all the time and they don't know where he is. So yeah, that didn't quite make a lot of sense to me.
It's the magic wards of Velaris.
Yeah, but I do feel like the quote-unquote magic is just used a lot to explain things away. There's also lots of mentions of rules and how things are done without ever really elaborating and explaining.
The power of truth.
Yeah, yes. And I realize now on a reread that some of these things we never really get an explanation for. So that's a little frustrating, I think, on a reread. There was also just this really, really, really cringy moment that really drove me crazy where Rhys compared Feyre's breast to apples. It just gave me the serious ick. I remember that the first time, not liking it.
They're putting on this act, though, because they were in the summer court.
There's better ways. It just...
He was teasing. No, I know, I know.
Oh, man. I feel like I highlighted that part and literally put a puking emoji as my only response to that section. Because it wasn't even like, ooh, he's so evil. It was just, like, just gross. I don't know. It really grossed me out. I also just have a bigger issue this time around because I feel like the first time I read this series, I want to say it was during COVID. I was just reading a bunch of books, keeping myself busy, and I was kind of flying through books, and I wasn't necessarily maybe paying as close of attention as I would on a deep dive read. I don't love how both the Illyrians and the Night Court, there's like this sense that like the inner circle has removed themselves because they're so much better than both of these groups. And I don't feel like they're doing a lot of intentional work to make sure that people within those groups who maybe don't want to live there have the opportunity to leave. There's kind of just this assumption that most of the people just suck. And there's just this feeling that they are acting like they are above and just more higher minded than these people. And I don't love that. I also just don't love a lot of the language used around to describe the Illyrians. It actually made me really uncomfortable. So on a reread, I didn't love that.
I would disagree, though, with them not doing anything to improve the people and give them better opportunities because Rhys is actively getting upset at the clan's leaders and making them train the females, and he's getting on their case when they're not. And we'll see more of that in later books. It really wasn't touched on much in this book specifically because they were hardly at the Illyrian camps. But I do disagree on the part with the Illyrians, just because like they are trying. It's just like they don't live in Illyria, so they live in Velaris, so it's kind of like they can only take field trips so often. But we get into that in ACOWAR because we do see more opportunities coming in for them, but we're going to hold that for later because we don't want to get into spoiler territory. Yeah. But I'm like, girl, the book is already over like what, 400, 500, 600 pages. It's long. So there's only so much they can do because there's also the whole war with Hybern as well. But anyway, without revealing your entire series ranking, where does A Court of Mist and Fury fall within the series for you?
You know, it used to be number one by a wide margin, and now I feel like it's kind of just tied with ACOWAR.
Oh, that's interesting. It's still number one for me.
Yeah.
It makes me so sad you didn't like it as much on a reread. I love it so much.
I mean, I definitely did still like the book. I think there's just things that I just noticed more on a reread that made it feel like less of the standout of the series, if that makes sense. Like it just feels more closely tied to ACOWAR for me. But weirdly, I think I'm actually going to like ACOWAR more on a reread. So I think things are just moving around for me as I reread. So things will settle into place.
People change, our opinions change. Like for me, this used to be God tier book. I still adore this book. It's my number one of the ACOTAR series. But as far as the entire Maasverse series ranking goes, I don't even want to say what my rankings are. Obviously, I've already said that Throne of Glass is my favorite series, but like I don't know where I would put it with the entire Maasverse, which is interesting because I used to think number one forever, and now it's not my ultimate number one.
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting to see once we're done with the Maasverse what our overall order is of the whole series.
I still can't do it. It's too hard for me. I can do it per series, but I can't do it all together. It's just too hard.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Okay, it is time to channel our inner Suriel and spill the tea on all of our favorite moments, characters, and quotes in A Court of Mist and Fury. This section will not contain series spoilers. It's only spoilers for the book. So right off the bat, are you a chapter 54 or a chapter 55 girly?
You know, I don't think I'm either. I think I'm a chapter 50/51 girly.
Ooh, cop out. You have to pick one. You have to pick one.
I don't know. I guess 54?
Okay.
54. What about you?
Well, I'll get into it, but first I want to know why 50/51?
So 50/51, I believe, that's these chapters, so just in case I'm wrong, but 50/51 is when she finds out Rhys is her mate, and she's furious at him. And then she finds out from the Suriel, and then she goes back, and she is like, you don't get to ask me questions. You're only going to answer mine. And I'm like, yes, like, I love that part. I just love it. And I love her leaving him in the mud and making Mort take her somewhere else. Like, I just love everything about that. From the Suriel is about to tell her more about it, and she's like, no, I want to hear it from him, because she's so mad. And telling the Suriel that just to me is hilarious, because she's so upset that she would like interrupt the Suriel. And then all the way through that moment where she just leaves him in the mud and he can't even stand because he's still so weak. I feel like that whole scene played in my head like a perfect movie. It just was so good.
It definitely plays like a perfect movie, and I will say that's one of my favorite scenes as well. Not the part where she leaves him in the mud per se, but when Rhys is attacked and then she goes feral and she's like winnowing for the first time, like successfully, and like just like going at him, like killing everyone. She's just so fierce and determined in that moment. I just admired her so much. And the reveal with the Suriel, I was like, to be fair, I did have it spoiled for me. I knew that they were mates this entire time when I had read the ACOTAR series, but to actually finally have that payoff, I was like, oh my goodness. So I was losing my mind. So I definitely loved those chapters as well, with her saving Rhysand and having the reveal. It was just so juicy. But back to chapter 54 and 55, I am a chapter 54 girly. That reveal means everything to me. It is one of the best chapters I have ever read. It just, knowing everything that you know from ACOTAR and like, oh, this is boring, or why was he like this, and blah, 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 blah. You're like, oh, wait, everything that he's ever done was always to help her, to save her, and he's loved her all this time, and it was just so sweet. And I remember crying the first time that I had read it. I was just, I didn't cry this time on my reread, which is very unlike me, but it's just the story of everything, and then accepting the mating bond. I just loved it. But I will do a chapter 55 honorable mention. Feyre said, I want you to know that I am broken and healing, but every piece of my heart belongs to you, and I am honored to be your mate. So I love the more emotionally intimate, like sweet moments more than the sex. I mean, I'm not complaining. Chapter 55 was great, but I definitely cling more to chapter 54.
It is a really beautiful declaration of love, and you really feel his yearning in all of that. And, you know, the fact that he was willing to just step away and leave her with Hamlet if that's what made her happy. All of the sacrifices he was willing to make for her. It was really beautiful.
Yeah. Well, even just the fact that she had dreams of the night sky, and the reason that she painted stars for herself on their dresser was because of him. And even just her being born on the winter solstice, which is the longest night of the year. I'm like, it was all fate. It was all fate. Like, she was meant to be High Lady and meant to be his mate. It's just perfect.
It was really, really, really good. Mm-hmm. So that being said, what is your favorite scene in A Court in Mist and Fury?
So besides the scenes that we've already spoken of, for me, Starfall. Love. So magical. I wish that we had something like that in real life. I love watching the meteor showers every summer. But could you just imagine Starfall? And then also when Feyre defends Valaris. So good.
It is good. Her killing the adder, I think, is one of my favorite scenes in the whole book. Besides leaving him in the mud, killing the adder is so, so good.
Okay, I was wondering if that would happen to be the scene that you had mentioned in our ACOTAR episode. You said, oh, I'm going to save it for later because it's a later scene. So is this the scene you were referring to?
It's not in ACOMAF. It's my favorite scene.
Oh, okay. Well, it's got to be an ACOWAR. There's no way it's going to be Frost and Starlight. So.
It is the next book, so you'll have to wait until we talk about it. I won't tell you until then. But it's one, and it's not just a favorite ACOWAR scene. Like, it's like a top 5 book scene for me, as far as it just feeling so cinematic when you read it. I love it. I think those are the scenes that typically are some of my favorites, the ones that just feel really cinematic. I know not everybody can see books play out in their head when they read, but I do. And the more vivid it is, the more that scene resonates with me typically. I'm assuming you feel similarly to that.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I read this entire series, I read it in like a week the first time I had read it. And I don't see words on paper. I quite literally am in this scene. I'm smelling and hearing and tasting what the characters are. I'm fully immersed in this story. It doesn't matter if it's first or third person. I can connect to the story both ways. And for me, I just was totally in the world and experiencing it like it was a movie. I'm so glad I don't have aphantasia. If I did, I'd be sad.
Yeah, I do really enjoy being able to see books play out in my head.
Me too. So besides chapters 50, 51, 54, 55, and the other scenes that we've already mentioned, specifically when thinking about Rhysand and Feyre, are there any other favorite moments that you have from A Court of Mist and Fury?
I mean, I really love it when he first brings her to his home and she gets all frustrated with him and throws a shoe at him.
You just love when Feyre's mean to him.
I do.
Okay, well, for me, it's hello, Feyre, darling, with the wedding interruption. I was like, thank God. The end scene. I love a good 1 room, 1 bed end scene. It's so good.
Yeah, the end scene is really good. It's top tier for a 1 bed trope. We love a, oh no, there's only 1 bed trope.
No, I hate it.
Do you have any other small moments that were favorites?
I do. And honestly, I tried keeping this really short. But again, this is my favorite book in the series. So unfortunately, I have a lot. But I'm going to try to get through them quickly.
Okay, rapid fire. Go.
Rapid fire. The Weaver's Cottage. I had a major epiphany when I was rereading it this time because I have now read the entire Maasverse. I can't go into details yet, but it was crazy. But also what happened at the Weaver's Cottage, besides my epiphany, was Rhysand saying, "You are my salvation, Feyre." And then Feyre realizing, I was not a pet, not a doll, not an animal. I was a survivor and I was strong. I would not be weak or helpless again. I could not be broken, tamed. And then also, before she goes into the cottage, Rhys says, "Did you enjoy the sight of me kneeling before you?" Okay, you go for 1 because I'm going to talk a lot.
Okay, I'm going to give the quote. "The adder isn't in Valaris. He was in the Hewn City, in the Court of Nightmares, where it took Azriel less than an hour to break him." Why is that so hot? Okay? Why is that so hot? I don't know why, but it does things to me, okay? It does things to me.
I have a lot of feelings on Azriel, so I agree with you there. Okay. The entire summer court I loved. Obviously, the most iconic quote of the entire series, "To the people who look at the stars and wish, Rhys, to the stars who listen and the dreams that are answered. I remember texting my friend when I was reading this for the very first time and being like, wow, this is the best quote. And she called me and was laughing at me because it is quite literally the most iconic line. And she had told me, like, you know, it's on merch, it's everywhere. Like, everybody loves this quote. And I thought it was pretty cool that without any influence, I gravitated toward that quote and I loved it. And then also another quote from the Summer Court was Feyre saying, I'm thinking it would be very easy to love you and easier to call you my friend. And that was something that she and Tarquin went through. I love Tarquin so much. So I just really, really enjoy everything that happens at the Summer Court. I'm going to try rapid firing here, but more saying, quote, if Cassian's howling, I hope it means Feyre told him to shut his fat mouth. That was the first time I think she had met the inner circle, and I thought it was really funny. And then another quote from Moore, she said, there are good days and hard days for me. Even now, don't let the hard days win. And I just really, really love that quote so much.
It is a good one. I love it. All the moments where Feyre is training with Cassian. Cassian is just such a good friend, and he's so good at knowing when you need to have your buttons pushed, when you need to talk, when you just need quiet, when you need to work it out on your own. I don't think he gets enough credit for how good he is at reading people and their friendship. I just really, really love their friendship.
Me too. I think he's just very emotionally aware and mature, and he's a great friend. And I have more thoughts and feelings on that, but that's okay. I'll hold it in.
I also really, really love the fight Cassian and Rhys have after they're mated, and he makes some pointed comments about Feyre, and perhaps Rhys didn't take care of her enough. And Rhys just loses it. And I died laughing in that scene. I loved it. And there's this part where I think she says, like, Cassian literally like kicks Rhys off of him back into the mud. And I just lost it at the visual. It was so good.
That was really funny. It really shows how primal they are about their mates. But then I did get secondhand embarrassment after they proceeded to fuck inside the cabin with Moore and Cassian inside. I was like, y'all chill.
I mean, they left.
They said that they were loud enough for the people flying above to hear them. So
yeah, that whole part was a little like, okay, they're just gonna wake the whole town apparently. But what are you gonna do?
You know, Faye Sand really loves when everyone is aware that they're having sex. Like, they love doing it in public and being super loud. That's just their thing.
It kind of does seem to be a running theme with them.
Yeah.
One other really small moment I had, and one of my favorite things in books, when there's a tiny little detail and it's so perfect, those are my favorite things in books. And there's this moment where they've come back from stealing the Book of Breathings and they're soaking wet, and Amren's magic doesn't work on the Book of Breathings, and Amren goes and removes the water from Feyre so they're not soaking wet and cold anymore, except for the little bit of water around the pocket where the Book of Breathings is, because her magic doesn't work on the Book of Breathings. So she talks about how there's just a little bit of water still on her pocket against the Book of Breathings. And it doesn't explicitly explain it there, but you know it's because Amren's magic doesn't work on it. And I just love that tiny little detail of making sure you know, except for this little bit of water.
I did not catch that. That's really interesting.
I just love those little pieces where the detail is just there and it's perfect and it's just a tiny little moment, but I love it.
Well, did you love this moment? I have to ask, what did you think of Feyre painting Rhys's cabin? Because I, for one, had the worst secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah, I subscribe to the fan theory that Feyre is secretly a terrible artist and no one has the heart to tell her, for the sole reason that it's hilarious and hurts no one and I don't think affects any other part of the plot. It's just a fun theory.
Yeah.
And so I just keep picturing it being painted horribly. And I do also have secondhand embarrassment for this.
Yeah, I do not subscribe to that fan theory, but I just think it's so weird that she's like, let me paint all of my friends all around the cabin and vandalize the entire place because I'm his mate. My girl, it's not your cabin yet. I mean, I wouldn't isolate myself and do that to someone's cabin personally, but.
I mean, it was definitely a strong choice.
Yeah.
All right, now for the last part of our ACOMAF discussion. The ending was insane. We obviously have to close our ACOMAF only favorite moments discussion here. In the final few chapters, we had Ianthe's betrayal, Feyre's sisters being turned, Feyre pretending to break the bond, and the massive reveal of Feyre being High Lady. How did you feel about it? Was it overwhelmed? What were your reactions?
So the last 100 pages of any Sarah J Maas novel is a complete and total shit show. I was so stressed the first time I read Break the Bond. Like, I was like starting to tear up. I was like, oh my God, no, like, please do not do this. I was not surprised by the Archeron sisters being turned or even by Lucian being Elaine's mate. I was kind of picking up the vibes from off the page already. But Break the Bond, oh my God, it had me so stressed. And I always thought Ianthe was a bitch, so that just solidified it for me right there. The betrayal was nothing new. Of course, Tamlin was desperate enough to go and do this as well and side with Hybern. But oh my God, I remember looking at my book, because I read the physical book, and I was like, what do you mean they're going to go to Hybern right now to nullify the cauldron? And there's like 60 pages left. I was like, there's not enough time in this book to have this go well and actually finish this mission. So the entire time my heart was just racing and I was very, very stressed. So
yeah, I really feel that. And you're right. Like, the last 100 pages of her books are always kind of crazy and chaotic, but in a fun way. Like, I enjoy the chaos personally.
No, same. It's great.
I think for me, I have a thing for first lines and last lines of books. I always pay extra attention to them. And the last line of this book is so good. It says, quote, "And so Tamlin unwittingly led the High Lady of the Night Court into the heart of his territory."
Mic drop.
Right? It's such a mic drop moment. It's so good. And it just gives you chills when you read it, and I just loved it.
Yes.
But yeah, the whole end of that book was insane. It was bonkers.
It was so crazy. I mean, like, she's also using her magic. We're seeing the cauldron for the first time. But you are so right with that last line just being so good, because Amren's flipping out and Azriel and Cassian are actively dying on the table. And she's like, we got to go get her. And Reese is like, nah, my High Lady. Oh, did I stutter? My High Lady is fine. She's my spy, and she's gonna fuck shit up in the Spring Court.
Yeah, it's so good. I love it. And I love a last line of a book that perfectly sets up the next book, Chef's Kiss.
You gotta want more.
Oh, yeah.
And this makes you want more. It makes you crave the next book. So
yeah,
she delivers. She delivers for sure.
That, again, a top last line of a book. It's probably in the top 5 for me.
Well, I can't wait for you to read her other books.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
All right, now that we're done with all of our favorite moments, let's talk about the characters we'd cross the wall for, or not. Starting with our FMC favorite Archeron. Are we crossing the wall for her?
Well, unlike you, I was surprised to learn, I will be crossing the wall for Feyre. I loved her in this book. I really loved how much she grew into her power. Tamlin refused to let her train, but she ends up harnessing all of the magic. And that's part of the reason why I loved the scene with the adder as she's saving Valaris, because she is just perfectly winnowing and shaping the water into wolves and eagles and turning people's wings into ice. And it was just so badass. I just really liked her. She's no longer this human who was pretty skilled with a bow and arrow and like knows how to fight, but now she also has magic. She's Fae. She is struggling a lot mentally, but she improves. I just felt like her character development was really well done in this book. And this was the beginning of my favorite version of her. So I will be crossing the wall for Feyre.
Yeah, I think for me, I feel like on a reread, I just noticed how many more like of these outbursts she has, and she has a hard time controlling her temper. And to be fair, I know she has PTSD and she's dealing with a lot emotionally. Tamlin is as well. And we get really upset about his emotional outbursts and his anger issues and his trouble dealing with his anger. But I feel like Feyre kind of gets a pass, and I don't actually think that that's fair. I don't love the anger outbursts of Feyre in this novel. It frustrates me. And to be fair, she hasn't learned how to control her magic because Tamlin wouldn't train her.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to have seen her having more self-awareness around this issue. I just wasn't into the outbursts.
Yeah. I guess I never really perceived it as an outburst from her, like in this book or even in the next one. Yes, I'm not going to get into spoilers, but in this book, I don't really see it as that.
Yeah. I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it.
Good to know. Well, Karly, it seems we're going to continue the trend of your unpopular opinion this episode, because last episode we had very unpopular opinions regarding the Archeron sisters. Have those opinions changed for you by book 2?
So in these books, Elaine seems to actually want to be helpful, which is nice. Nesta is foot stomping, tantrum throwing, frustrating, drives me crazy. The way that she just talks to the queen, she's like, you're going to give them the book. And I'm like, bitch, no, they ain't.
This is the most we've ever disagreed on an episode ever. I feel like, because for me, I loved that in this book.
I think the way she goes about it is completely delusional. Why do you think you have any power over these people to tell them to do anything?
I don't think that she thought that she had the power of it, but I really respected Nesta, because now that I finished the whole Maasverse, I want to go in with a open mind and try to like her more than I have in the past. But in this book, I was really, really impressed with her, because she was standing up not just for her sisters, but for her people. And I can understand being upset, because in that scene specifically, the queens are like, you know what? Fuck y'all. We're not going to evacuate your people. We're not going to send anybody to fight for you. You're just done. And so she, even though doesn't like Faye and is worried about their relation with Elaine's fiance, is willing to help them, and she's realizing that's their only hope, really. And so I respected that she was willing to not only just like work with them, but also have the guts to call out the queens, because the queens are being really unfair in that moment. And I think she had a point. So I really liked her in that scene, but I did not like her at the beginning when they were having dinner with Cassian and everybody, and she was just really antagonistic, and Cassian was calling her out. And this was, I had held it in earlier in our conversation where you had mentioned that he's really good at like pushing buttons and he's a really good friend. But at this moment, he recognized the trauma that she had caused Feyre, and he was standing up for her against Nesta. And so I respected that. But I really, really liked Nesta in this book. For me, my opinions on Elaine didn't really change. She was just kind of there. But I did like Nesta in this one.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I don't think we know much about Elaine. Like, I feel like we get so little of Elaine, but
yeah,
when Feyre returns, she's very welcoming and is the one that's telling Nesta, no, we need to help them.
That's true.
And is very recognizing of the fact that this isn't a Fae problem. This is going to be a human Fae problem. And Nesta's very much like, well, you figure it out. And it's like, oh, okay, so what, just leave you to your own devices? Just leave, and when the wall comes down and they come in to take all the humans, that's a you problem? That's not an, like, what do you mean? This is an everybody problem. And she isn't wanting to recognize that, and it just seems really ignorant up until when the queens aren't willing to recognize it's an everybody problem. And then suddenly when the people in power aren't willing to do anything, Nesta is trying to make them do something. Yeah. Which, to be fair, at the very end, when she basically tells them that they're cowards, I did like that part.
Yeah, I do think she was trying to help because of the whole meeting place being where they were at. And she may have been the one, I could be wrong about this, but I think she may have even been the one to bring up evacuation. And she had calculated, like, there's not enough boats. But aside from the queens, even just the way she was with Hybern, with pointing the death finger, that was pretty badass, you gotta admit.
No, I mean, I do like that part. I'm not saying there aren't any parts of Nesta I don't like, or like moments with Nesta that aren't good. But overall, it's just a lot of making demands of people that she has no right to make demands of.
Yeah.
It's wild to me the way she wants to treat people and then expect to be treated in return completely differently how she treats people. And also wants everything she wants while also giving no cooperation to anybody else. It's mind-boggling to me.
Yeah. I did think she was more cooperative in this book, though.
All right. To a character I think we both have the same view on, we have to shout out Tarquin.
Yes.
I think he's the biggest green flag of the series and the most balanced character. How do you feel about Tarquin?
Fully agree. Besides Rhysand, Tarquin is my favorite High Lord. And if Feyre doesn't want him, I'll take him. So he's just so nice. He wants good things.
Yeah,
he wants to make the world a better place, a better world. So.
I do love Tarquin. I think he's fantastic. He's one of my favorite characters. He's great.
He's pretty great. And that's all we have on him.
I know. We need more. I need a Tarquin backstory. All right. It's time for the spoiler-filled portion of the ACOTAR series discussion, the juicy bits. If you haven't finished the entire ACOTAR series, this is your formal spoiler warning. We recommend saving the episode and coming back to hear the spoiler section once you've turned the final page. We'll be right here waiting. Please note this section does not contain overarching Maasverse spoilers.
Now that we've consulted the Suriel, let's talk series spoilers. Starting with our characters again, we were introduced to quite a few new characters in this book.
We really were. How do we feel about the inner circle?
I have some trust issues with Mor and Asriel. Like, I love Asriel and I respect Mor, but I don't trust him.
You know, I think I always fall in love with the characters I don't trust.
Yeah, I've always felt hesitant when it comes to Mor. I just knew that there was always something, more to her story. But this time when I was rereading, I just kept picking up on Asriel questioning Rhysand's authority as High Lord. And I don't know, he just kept questioning his judgment. And there just seemed to be some kind of odd tension there. And I don't think I fully trust Asriel anymore either.
I definitely have some suspicions around Mor and Asriel as well. Maybe more so. Oh, we just can't help ourselves with that one. It's just too easy. It's there.
We can call her Mor again.
I think it definitely seems like she may have known Jurain was alive and didn't tell anybody. So there's a moment in the book where I feel like she kind of seems like shocked by something. And I think she realizes Jurain is alive. There's also the King of Hybern referring to her as a queen.
Rhysand also refers to her as queen, though, because she's like the ruler of the Court of Nightmares. So I think people just like refer to her as the queen for the nightmares. But that's interesting. Very interesting.
I feel like the way the King of Hybern said it, though, just made me really go, ooh, something's there.
Yeah, I have some thoughts that I can't get into. There was also a part, too, where she just instinctively knew to go for Feyre's sisters when Feyre was trying to mentally communicate with Rhysand. And maybe Rhysand communicated to Mor, but she didn't even know if Rhysand was getting her instructions. So I know, I feel like it's Empyrean all over again. Who's the intrinsic? But I'm like, is she secretly Daimati or something? Like how did she know?
Ooh,
like, how did she know?
Interesting.
But I don't think so. I think that would be, if someone was secretly a Daimati for like 600 plus years, that wouldn't be very fun. That'd be like a crazy reveal, but like.
It would be a crazy reveal. I just think we'd have to have a really good explanation of why she was able to get through Rhys's shields, right? Because he's supposed to have such good shields. So there'd have to be a really interesting explanation for that, which could be like she could think of anything.
No, and then like Rhysand also, like after she had dropped off the sisters at the House of Wind, Rhysand thought about Mor, and then it said as if his thinking of her had summoned her and brought him to her, Mor had winnowed into the townhouse. And I'm like, there's something weird going on here. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, she's got that very mysterious power.
Yeah, she's like, this is the power of truth. You know me. I am the Morrigan. You should trust me. I'm like, girl, what is the power though? Like, is the power just that you influence people into making them think that you're speaking the truth, or they're just accepting what you say is the truth? I find it's suspicious. It's suspicious. I think she's a girl's girl, but
Yeah, I think she definitely likes Feyre and wants to be friends with Feyre. I don't think that's fake.
There's just a lot that she's hiding. And since we're in the Maasverse spoilers section, I'm just going to say it. And this is probably makes me a horrible person, but I do not believe her story with Eris one bit. I actually believe Eris instead. Oh, I hope I don't get canceled for that. I think she's lying. I think she's completely lying about everything that went down. And I think that she's manipulating Azriel to make it so that he can't share the truth about what actually went down, because Azriel's the one that was summoned over there. And I have other theories about why Azriel was summoned over there, but this is not our theories episode. We're supposed to be talking about characters now. But I don't trust her. I got my eyes on her. I also have my eyes on Azriel, especially as I'm rereading. It's just very interesting with Az and the way that he commands his shadows and utilizes truth teller. It's very interesting. Very interesting.
I find it interesting that her ability is truth and he wields truth teller, and we don't trust either of them.
Yeah. And don't you also find it pretty ironic that her ability is truth and she hides the most innate part of her identity?
Well, I almost wonder if it somehow affects her ability or something.
Maybe.
I don't know. Because the thing is, we know nothing about her ability and how it works.
We know nothing.
It's so frustrating.
No, it is. And then with Sarah J Maas being on Call Her Daddy podcast, she had sort of hinted, well, there's other powers too. I'm like, girl, like what? I mean, she was healing Azriel's wounds, but I feel like that's something a lot of the Fae can do, apparently. Although it is more closely associated with the Dawn Court. It's just very interesting.
That's interesting.
I was like, okay, so Girly Pop's just healing him.
Well, isn't knowledge also closely associated with the Dawn Court? Do I have that correct?
Either Dawn or Day. I want to say it's Dawn. I think it's Dawn, though. They're the ones that had the archives.
Yeah, they're the ones that tried to protect their libraries from Amarantha. So that's interesting that both of those are tied to Dawn, and she has these abilities that seem more closely tied to Dawn. Because I feel like truth is tied to knowledge, right? I think that those are tied. So that's interesting.
And her family has the Veritas Orb and the Ouroboros Mirror. Very strange.
Yes.
Very strange.
Very strange. I feel like we've got some suspicions.
Yeah. We'll have more to talk about her later, but also since we did mention the inner circle, we've talked about Cass. We love Cassian. Big fans of Cassian. I still like Rhysand more than Cass, though. Maybe I'll change my mind because we're all changing all our opinions. But also Amren, I think she was really fun in this book. I don't trust her either. Just kidding. No, I did not trust her up until like the ending of ACOWAR. I was just like, I don't know about this one. I don't know. But I do trust Amren now. But I want to know more about her backstory. I want to know which world she came from. In detail, Sarah. Yeah. In detail.
We want a whole book on Amren's backstory.
Yeah.
I want like a bonus chapter of her escaping the prison. I don't know if that exists. I don't know all the bonus chapters out there, but that would be great.
Yeah. Speaking of the prison and me not trusting Azriel. So Azriel commands the shadows. The people who are controlling the prison are like shadow creatures. And so I'm like, so he can just control the guards of the prison.
Oh, interesting.
I highlighted that. I was like, sir, what the fuck's going on here? Because it's supposed to be keyed to the blood of the High Lords. Okay, so it's supposed to be keyed to Rhysand, but then Azriel's like, oh, I'll just stop by the prison, like no biggie. And I'm like, well, yeah, because you can control the shadows. For the people watching on Patreon, they're probably like getting a little bit more of my like little knowing looks.
I feel like, isn't there a time Cassian goes too, though?
Not in this book. I don't know if he goes the other times. I don't know.
I feel like Court of Silver Flames, he takes Nesta, but I could be misremembering.
They do go to the prison in the Court of Silver Flames, but I have other theories there. But
okay.
And again, I'm calling myself out hardcore. I mentioned earlier, this is like my third reread, potentially fourth of ACOMAF. I have never reread Silver Flames or Frost and Starlight.
You and I are going to be rereading it the first time together.
I never have. I've only ever stuck to the original trilogy. I wonder if it's something like if they just get permission. Maybe it's just that. But also maybe it's because Nesta's maid and they were going after other maid artifacts. I don't know.
Maybe.
Or maybe it's because of some other reason.
Or maybe we'll never get a reason.
Oh, you do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The prison's just so interesting.
The prison is really interesting. Like, I want a novella of Amren breaking out of that prison.
Yeah, this is a hard discussion. I think we have to move on.
Okay, let's move on.
I have to hold my tongue.
We don't want to accidentally spoil a wrong series on accident here.
Yeah, but yeah, we're there is not a doubt in my mind the prison / Dusk court will not play a large role in the next ACOTAR book. We are for sure getting more. Whether that actually be Amren's backstory with the prison or just like more lore, but it's a very interesting place.
All right. Before we spoil anything on accident, I'm looking at you, Kinsey. I can't spoil what I don't know. Moving on to our Oracle consult, we have some fun foreshadowing moments to mention.
Okay, I'm going to try to rapid fire this as much as possible.
Okay.
When Feyre is trying to imagine if her sisters would ever come to Valaris, she says, quote, Elaine would like it too, though she'd probably cling to Asriel just to have some peace and quiet.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so that's like a little evidence there for Elriel, I think. And then Elaine is described as, quote, soft and lovely like a summer dawn, which could also place her in day? Maybe.
Or dawn.
Who do we know that's associated to the day court?
Yeah.
At dawn. I know. But like soft and lovely, like a summer. I think summer, well, I guess it could be summer court, but it screams day court to me. Anyways. Nessian mates. If you don't know, that's the ship name for Nesta and Cassian. They're bickering, the back and forth. Cassian crawling towards the cauldron. Like, I was like, dear God, this is so obvious. I was expecting Cassian to declare her as a mate too, but then instead we got Lucian. But yeah, that was obvious.
Yeah, I will say I'm currently reading ACOWAR, and the foreshadowing for that is heavy-handed in ACOWAR.
It's so obvious.
I love this moment when Feyre tells Tamlin, quote, if you bring me from here, if you take me from my mate, I will destroy you. I will destroy your entire court and everything you hold dear. And boy, does she.
Yes, she does. And we love her for that.
Yeah.
Women in men's fields.
Yeah.
We do get some subtle foreshadowing of Lucian's heritage when Feyre describes his skin as, quote, sun-kissed gold.
Oh, that's so good.
Day court. Sounds like day court to me. We also get foreshadowing that Feyre's father is rallying ships to fight against Hybern since he's attending a business summit about the threat above the wall. It was still a surprise, I suppose, that he shows up with the whole fleet of them because he's just at a summit. There's just a threat. There's always a threat. But I liked that little detail that was in there.
That's a good one.
And then the last little thing I have about foreshadowing here for this book, Lucian could definitely see Feyre's mating bond and high lady tattoos with his golden eye, because like his eye can see through glamours and things of that nature. He 100% without a doubt knew that Feyre was lying, but Tamlin ignored him. He looked between Feyre and Tamlin and his face paled. Then he's like, hey, Tamlin, like trying to get his attention. And Tamlin did not lower his outstretched hand as he was taking Feyre home. So I think he knew 110%. I mean, like we know that he knew, but this was something I also caught onto earlier when I had read it the first time. I was like, brother, because like the bond's not broken. But at this point, he's like, I just got to shut the lips and do my thing, because if not, then I'm never going to see Elaine again. And that's my mate. So
yeah, I guess that ended up working out in Feyre's favor because she didn't know about his eye. And had Elaine not been his mate and she went back, she would have had no leverage. This leverage that she didn't even realize she needed over him, that like she didn't realize he was holding close. So that's really good.
Good thing. Okay, moving on.
Is this something I can hear? I didn't read your Maasverse spoilers.
This is. So this is the official spoiler warning for the entire Maasverse.
Let me get settled in my desk while teacher Kinsey schools me.
Yes. So if you haven't read all of the Maasverse books, I will not be spoiling big plot moments, to be very, very clear. But I will be mentioning minor lore pieces from Throne of Glass and Crescent City that I just really cannot save for a later episode. I have been keeping my notes for other things, but I need to talk about this. Okay. So don't worry. There were a lot more observations than I will be mentioning, but I just have to get these, 2 topics off of my chest without going into too much detail. So topic 1. I'm going to get situated here. Okay. So this is like a more calm one. The Weaver's Cottage. I brought this up a little bit earlier. The Weaver has been hoarding items for millennia that even High Lords do not dare take. I guarantee this will become important later because now the Weaver is dead. So who the heck is watching her cottage? I was spiraling because we know that there are items that are in places that they shouldn't be. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Karly has read the first Crescent City book, and she does know this. So I'm not gonna, like, it's not a spoiler for her. Hopefully it's not too big of a spoiler for anybody else. But I'm like, oh my God. So the entire time in the Weaver's cottage, I was like, okay, pearls, okay, books, okay. Like, I was trying to like pay close attention, and I will be watching all of these items as we continue to read the entire Maasverse, but I am just like dying to know. I want them to go back at some point. I want them to discover something else, like The Walking Dead, or like anything. Who is guarding these treasures? And it's definitely going to be a crossover. Okay, so that's just all I'm going to say. So I'm freaking out.
Do you have an inventory list at this point?
I highlighted it, and I did have a list. Look, girl.
This is my favorite version of you, by the way.
There are very important items in this book that I can't talk about yet. And it kills me. If you just want to take off your headphones for like 0.5 seconds, this will be like a major Throne of Glass spoiler.
Like the first book? When you say Throne of Glass, do you mean the series or do you mean book 1?
I mean Kingdom of Ash.
Okay, so the very last book of Throne of Glass, which I have not gotten to.
Yeah, you want to take off your headphone for like 0.5 seconds?
We'll put in a timestamp right here in case people need to skip
Kingdom of Ash spoiler.
I'm taking off my headphones.
Feyre's wedding ring is Aelin's wedding ring. Okay, period. You're good, Karly.
All right.
I had to get it off my chest. I mean, I feel like everybody noticed. But yeah, no, but there's a lot of items that are places that they shouldn't be.
Yeah. If you're picking up back here, you're safe to keep listening.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're safe.
So this next part Kinsey's going to get into is a spoiler for lore from Heir of Fire and the Throne of Glass series. We are not going to get into the specific characters, but it is lore. And it is also a lore spoiler for Crescent City. Kinsey, which book?
House of Sky and Breath, book 2. So if you read the series in different orders, you first hear about this in Heir of Fire and House of Sky and Breath.
Okay, so those are the 2 books it's a spoiler for. We're going to put a timestamp in. You'll jump past this whole discussion if you don't want to hear it at all. So just a heads up there. But pause now and grab that timestamp if you want to skip ahead.
Okay, second topic. Okay, this one made me go absolutely fucking insane. Okay, Feyre gave Rhysand the blood oath.
What's the blood oath again?
Okay, you read Heir of Fire, so I thought you knew what it was.
I have read Heir of Fire. I just don't remember the details. You haven't technically spoiled it because I have read it. I just need a small refresher.
This is a world building thing. I'm not saying who has blood oaths for who, okay? But a blood oath is something that Fae do where they swear themselves to someone, typically a ruler, and they cannot disobey certain commands. Yep.
Okay.
The cure that the Suriel told her to give Rhysand was her blood. And he took 3 mouthfuls of her blood, which is the ceremony. So he is now blood sworn to Feyre. And he basically doesn't have agency if she commands him to do something.
Oh my.
Yeah,
that could be a problem.
I was freaking the fuck out. So when you were laughing about how she's like, no, shut the fuck up, blah, blah, blah. I was paying very close attention. And when she like commanded him to stop, he did. And it like had even said like he looked like he wanted to continue speaking, but like he couldn't. Girl. And then I'm like, what if
That's
she like,
interesting.
I'm like, what if she made him make her High Lady? Or like, what if like, what? Anything. Literally, I'm going to be paying attention for the whole rest of the fucking series and seeing, is she commanding him to do something? Because like, he will not have a choice. Okay. But it's also like they're their ultimate protector and it's their closest confidants. And things like that. So it's just very, very interesting. We see it in all 3 of the series. I'm going to include it as ACOTAR because I'm like convinced. But it's a huge role in Throne of Glass. It also plays a really big role in Crescent City. I won't say, again, I'm not saying like which characters, but like I like absolutely lost my fucking mind when I realized that Feyre gave him the blood oath. And I'm like, holy shit. Because I'm like, of course, Sarah's being sneaky because you just think, oh, it's the cure. Like, that's not weird. It's because her blood has healing powers because of the Dawn Court. Nah, that man is her servant now. Okay.
Okay. That's interesting.
That's very interesting. It made me lose my mind.
Well, now I would reread that scene totally differently then. That's very interesting. Mm-hmm. I love those moments. All right. We're back out of our spoiler section. So you're safe to continue listening. Do we have anything else we want to talk about before we jump into the outro?
Honestly, I just love this book. It's like coming home. It's a good time. I like the characters. I like the progression of the world and the character development. 10 out of 10, 5 stars.
Yeah, no, it's a really good book. I know I had a lot of moments where I spoke critically of certain aspects of it. I will say, though, that I think that if I can still enjoy a book and find these really good moments and enjoy it, I feel like it's hard to actually speak critically about a book that isn't, in general, well written. Mm. So if I don't like a book, I just don't like a book, and it just is. It just wasn't for me. Yeah. But I can only speak critically about a book and still enjoy it if it's well written from my perspective, personally. So I know I had some critical moments. I still enjoyed the book overall, and I had a lot of fun rereading it. I'm glad we got to reread it together. I am really excited to talk about ACOWAR, though.
I'm excited too. I need to get reading.
All right. And this is where we leave you today, Basic Book Besties. Thank you so much for listening. Please leave us a review and join us on our next episode where we are recapping A Court of Wings and Ruin. If you need more bookish content, we have spice ratings, Fourth Wing deep dive topics, our thoughts on recent adaptations, and more. If you stick around, we have really fun author interviews scheduled and discussions on some of our favorite contemporary romances.
You can join us over on Patreon, where you can access all of our episodes ad-free, 3 days early, and in full video, plus extras like exclusive book club access and shoutouts on the show. You'll find our Patreon link in the show notes, along with all the ways you can support the podcast.
Don't forget to stay in the loop by following us on social media and joining us in our Discord chat. Who knows, you might just meet your next book bestie there. You can also check out our website, basicandbookishpod.com, for info about our upcoming seasons, our contact form, and more. We've linked that down in the show notes.
We'll be back next week. Until then, prepare to crash out over ACOTAR 6 as we continue to crash course our way through the Maasverse.
Are you ready next episode to hear all about my favorite animal?
Oh.
Because it's Feyre fucking Archeron taking down the Spring Court.
Yeah, baby. Oh, my God. She's peaking this book. It doesn't get better than that.
Oh, God. I have to say, I can't wait to talk about it next week because I love Feyre in this next book.
It's just so good. Also, for our listeners, Karly and I are going to be reunited next week. Yay!
Oh my gosh, that's right. It's sneaking up on us. I'm so excited.
I know. I was like, wait, that's next weekend?
Yep. Okay. I know. It's really snuck up on us quick.
I suppose by the time our listeners are actually listening to this, though, we'll actually physically be together.
Yep. We will be reunited, and it feels so good.
Oh, so great.